1 Kings chapter 21. Naboth's vineyard. Now Naboth, a man from Jezreel, owned a vineyard just beside the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Ahab asked Naboth, "Give me your vineyard which is near my house, that I may use it for a vegetable garden. I will give you a better vineyard in exchange, or if you prefer, I will pay you its price." But Naboth said to Ahab, "The Lord forbid that I should give you the inheritance of my fathers." So Ahab went home angry and sad because Naboth had told him that he would not give him the inheritance of his fathers. He lay down on his bed with his face turned toward the wall and refused to eat. His wife Jezebel came to him and said, "Why are you so depressed that you refuse to eat?" He answered, "I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and asked him to sell me his vineyard or to exchange it for another better one, but he answered, 'I will not give you my vineyard.'" His wife Jezebel said to him, "Are you not king of Israel? Get up and eat and be joyful, for I will give you the vineyard of Naboth of Jezreel." So Jezebel wrote letters using Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters to the elders and important persons living with Naboth in the city. This is what she wrote in the letters: "Declare a fast and put Naboth on trial. Get two worthless fellows to accuse him in this way. You have cursed God and the king, then take him out and stone him to death." The people, the elders, and the important persons who live in his city did as Jezebel instructed them in the letter she sent to them. They declared a fast and put Naboth on trial. The two worthless fellows came in and sat facing him, accusing Naboth before the people. Naboth cursed God and the king. So the people took him outside in the city and stoned him to death. Then they sent word to Jezebel that Naboth had been stoned and was dead. As soon as Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, she told Ahab, "Now take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the man of Jezreel, who refused to sell it to you, for Naboth is now dead." As soon as Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, he went down to the vineyard of Naboth and took possession of it. Then the Lord spoke to Elijah the Tishbite, "Go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, in Samaria. He is taking possession of the vineyard of Naboth. Say to him, 'Thus says the Lord, have you killed and taken possession at the same time?' Then you shall say to him, 'Thus says the Lord, dogs shall lick your blood in the very place where the dogs lick the blood of Naboth.'" Ahab then said to Elijah, "So you have found me my enemy?" "Yes," Elijah answered. "I have come to you because you have done what the Lord abhors. I will bring disaster on you. I will sweep you away and cut off every male from your family, bound or free in Israel. Your family will disappear like the families of Jeroboam son of Nebat and Baasha son of Ahijah, because you have provoked me to anger and dragged Israel into sin." There is another word of the Lord to Jezebel: "The dogs shall devour Jezebel within the territory of Jezreel. Anyone of Ahab's line who dies in the city shall be devoured by dogs, or even in the field by the birds of the air." There was no one like Ahab, urged by his wife Jezebel, in doing what the Lord abhorred. He did horrible things and ran after unclean idols, just as the Amorites had done, from whom the Lord had taken the land to give it to Israel. On hearing these words, Ahab tore his clothes and put on sackcloth. He fasted, lay in sackcloth, and moved about despondently. Then the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, "Have you seen how Ahab has humbled himself? Because of this I will not bring about the disaster during his reign. During his son's reign, disaster will fall on his family." 1 Kings chapter 22. Micaiah and the false prophets. There was no war between Aram and Israel for 3 years. But in the 3rd year, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. The king of Israel then said to his officers, "Have you forgotten that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us? Yet we do nothing to take it back from the Arameans." So he asked Jehoshaphat, "Will you come with me to conquer Ramoth Gilead?" Jehoshaphat answered the king of Israel, "I am with you, my people are with your people, and my horses with yours." Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, said to the king of Israel, "Let us consult the Lord before setting out for war." So the king of Israel gathered all the prophets, numbering about 400 men, and asked them, "Shall I go to conquer Ramoth Gilead, or shall I hold back?" They replied, "Go, for the Lord will deliver the city into your hands." Jehoshaphat asked, "Is there no other prophet of the Lord around here whom we might ask?" The king of Israel answered, "There is still one through whom we may ask for the Lord's counsel. But I hate him, for he never prophesies good about me, but only evil. It is Micaiah, son of Imlah." Then Jehoshaphat said, "Let the king not speak in this manner." So the king of Israel called an official and told him, "Bring quickly Micaiah, son of Imlah." Meantime the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, were seated on their thrones, fully robed. They were at the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Samaria, when the prophets continued to prophesy before them. There was Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, who made for himself horns from iron and said, "Thus says the Lord, with these horns you shall strike the Arameans until they are destroyed." All the prophets said the same, "Go to Ramoth Gilead and triumph. The Lord would deliver it into the hands of the king." The official who went to summon Micaiah said to him, "Look here, all the prophets with one voice have foretold a happy end to the king. You two agreed to speak favorably." But Micaiah replied, "As the Lord lives, I will speak only what the Lord tells me." When he had come to the king asked him, "Micaiah, shall we go to conquer Ramoth Gilead, or shall we hold back?" Then Micaiah answered, "Go and triumph. The Lord will give the city into the hands of the king." But the king said to him, "How many times shall I ask you to speak seriously to me and tell me the truth in the name of the Lord?" Then Micaiah said, "I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep without a shepherd. Then the Lord said, These have no master, so let each return to his home in peace." So the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good about me, but only evil?" Micaiah replied, "Listen again to this word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with the entire host of heaven standing beside him on his right and on his left. Then the Lord asked, Who will deceive the king of Israel, that he may go and fall at Ramoth Gilead?" One said one thing, and another said another. Then a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord, saying, "I will deceive him." The Lord then asked him, "What will you do?" To this he replied, "I will go and make myself a lying spirit on the lips of all his prophets." Then the Lord said, "You are to entice him, and you shall succeed. Go and do just that. You must know that the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouths of all these prophets of yours, because he has decreed to bring evil on you." Then Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, approached Micaiah, struck him in the face, and said, "Which way has the Spirit of the Lord left me to speak to you?" Micaiah replied, "You shall discover for yourself on the day you flee to an inner room to hide." Then the king of Israel ordered, "Seize Micaiah and take him back to Anan, governor of the city, and to Joash the king's son. Give them this order: Throw this man in prison and feed him with scant fare of bread and water until I return in peace. Then Micaiah said, if you return in peace, then the Lord has not spoken through me. Death of Ahab. So the king of Israel went up to Ramoth Gilead together with the king of Judah. The king of Israel told Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself before the battle, but you wear your robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself before the battle. Now the king of Aram had commanded the 32 captains of his chariots, attacked no one, big or small, but only the king of Israel. When the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they thought that surely he is the king of Israel. So when they turned to attack him, but when Jehoshaphat shouted his cry of war, the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, and they no longer pursued him. In the meantime, one of the Arameans drew his bow, without knowing at whom he aimed, and hit the king of Israel between the scale armor and the breastplate. The king then ordered the driver of his chariot, turn around and carry me out of the battle, for I am wounded. The battle raged fiercely on that day. Meanwhile, the king was propped up in his chariot facing the Arameans until the evening when he died. The blood from his wound flowed down into the bottom of the chariot. At about sunset, a cry went through the crowd, everyone to his city and everyone to his land. The king has died. The king was brought to Samaria and buried there. They washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria. So the dogs licked up his blood and the harlots bathed in it, in accordance with the words spoken by the Lord. The rest of the acts of Ahab, his deeds, the ivory house he built, and the cities he restored are all written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. So Ahab rested with his fathers, and his son Ahaziah reigned in his place. Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. Jehoshaphat, son of Asa, began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel. He was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 25 years in Jerusalem. His mother was Azubah, daughter of Shilhi. He conducted himself like his father Asa and did what pleased the Lord without hesitation. Yet he did not remove the high places where the people continued to sacrifice and burn incense. Jehoshaphat had peace with the king of Israel. The rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, his bravery and his war exploits are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. He also removed from the land the remaining male cult prostitutes, completing the work of his father Asa. There was no king in Edom, but a governor ruled over it. Jehoshaphat had Tarshish ships go to Ophir for gold, but the venture failed when the ships were wrecked at Ezion-Geber. Then Ahaziah, son of Ahab, said to Jehoshaphat, let my servants go to the ships with your servants. Jehoshaphat, however, refused. When Jehoshaphat rested with his fathers, he was buried with them in the city of his ancestor David, and his son Jehoram reigned in his place. Ahaziah, king of Israel. Ahaziah, son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel in Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. He reigned over Israel for 2 years. He did what displeased the Lord, imitating the conduct of both his father and mother, as well as Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who dragged Israel into sin. He served Baal and worshipped him, offending the Lord, the God of Israel, in the same way his father had done. Psalm 143, Prayer over Penitence. O Lord, hear my prayer. Listen to my pleading in your faithfulness. Answer me in your righteousness. Do not bring your servant to judgment, for no mortal is just in your sight. The enemy has pursued me, crushing my life to the ground, making me dwell in darkness like those long dead. So my spirit is faint within me, and my heart within me is numb with fear. I remember the days of long ago. I meditate on what you have done and consider the work of your hand. I stretch out my hands to you and thirst for you like a parched land. O Lord, answer me quickly, for my spirit faints. Do not hide your face from me, or I shall be like those who go down to the pit. Let the dawn bring me word of your love, for in you alone I put my trust. Show me the way I should walk, for to you I lift up my soul. Rescue me from my enemies, O Lord, for to you I flee for refuge. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Let your spirit lead me on a safe path. Preserve me, O Lord, for your name's sake. In your justice, free me from distress. If you love me, crush my enemies and destroy all my foes, for I am your servant. John chapter 11, verse 1 to 29. The raising of Lazarus. Now there was a man named Lazarus who was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was the same Mary who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. Their brother Lazarus was sick. So the sisters sent this message to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. On hearing this, Jesus said, this illness will not end in death. Rather, it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Martha and her sister and Lazarus were friends of Jesus. Yet after he heard of the illness of Lazarus, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Only then did he say to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. They replied, Master, recently the Jews wanted to stone you. Are you going there again? Jesus said to them, there are 12 hours of the daylight, are there not? Whoever walks in the daytime does not stumble, for he sees with the light of this world. But if anyone walks by night, he will stumble, for there is no light to guide him. After that, Jesus said to them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going to wake him up. The disciples replied, Lord, if he is sleeping, he will recover. But Jesus had referred to Lazarus' death, while they thought that he had meant the repose of sleep. So Jesus said plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go there where he is. Then Thomas, called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us also go that we may die with him. When Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. As Bethany is near Jerusalem, about 3 kilometers away, many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them at their brother's death. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, while Mary remained seated in the house. And she said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, whatever you ask from God, he will give you. Jesus said, your brother will rise again. Martha replied, I know that he will rise in the resurrection of the dead on the last day. But Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, shall live. Whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? Martha then answered, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, he who is coming into the world. After that, Martha went and called her sister Mary quietly, saying, The Master is here and is asking for you. As soon as Mary heard this, she rose quickly and went to him.